What's up, everyone? All right, so for today, we'll start on GU for the outlook. We are reacting out of a decisional area. So we've got obviously internal range, decisional, had an inducement of our supply to demand area into the mitigation of this decisional area of obviously that break generated a lot of liquidity. Now we are coming out of the decisional of our 15-minute external. So this area very, very, very well can hold. The only thing is our positioning on a higher time frame. We've obviously taken that 4 hour low and we're still quite at the bottom when we consider that that's the actual leg. So we can come up much, much higher. But obviously the market is valid to sell. Big thing to note here is the amount of liquidity that's been generated and how slow the reaction's been from this decisional. That does start to give us a bit of an inkling that we could be looking to come a bit higher, at least to potentially, some of our extreme areas up the side of here. So what we've got, a couple of different options is one, got the decisional point here, which if this is going to be a smart money trap, we should be able to at least come up and induce this. I wouldn't even be surprised if it needs to induce something like that before continuing bearish. But the big thing is like none of this structure inside of here has really induced anything. So it's all pretty garbage. So it does give us good targets. But the thing that we've got to remember is we are coming out of a decisional point. We are very filled price action. This does technically go against the structure cycle. And if we do break this high, this is 50% of Asia, it will class as more or less a medium inducement. That can be enough to drive price down just based on the amount of buyers that we're going to bring in from this area from a liquidity standpoint. So what I'm looking for on the 5 minute, we've got a little internal break here. We've internally induced, broken again, retested. I'd like to see price come down, induce the retest, mitigate this area. I'd then be happy to work with something, inside of here. It might be like some sort of point there. We can use it as a smart money trap and then get some sort of entry from there. So we'll see if that wants to shape up and play ball. Might do, might not. Obviously, don't know. We'll see what happens with price. I might actually refine that just because of the fact that we've actually that's actually retest. So rather than use the 15-minute area, I'm going to refine it to that 10-minute point because it's retest of that internal break. Quite cool. Anyway, sweet. Sweet. So inside that area now, we'll see if we can get some sort of reaction out of it and go from there. AU, damn. I wanted to buy AU where it is. So if I look at AU on the 15-minute, obviously we've taken the weekly high. So, we very well can and are due to sell off at some point. Good retest of our 15-minute break and very clear inducement. What I'm seeing is if we are going to go bearish, I think we need to at least come back up to this supply, the extreme of our internal leg to be able to go bearish. Or if we are going to continue bullish, this is where we very well can go bullish from a liquidity perspective. Since then, we've broken on the 5 minute, retested, mitigated smart money trap, induced retest, and obviously broken. That's more or less valid. I'm just not about to set a 10 pip stop. Damn, that is really annoying. This is also tricky as well because if you do set that, you got to be break even there, so you don't really have any room. Damn, damn. Could run something like that potentially. 8.3 pip stop. I'm back. Dog was barking. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so that's an interesting limit just there. So something to consider. We'll see if it ends up playing out. It is pretty filled. I haven't got it set. But yeah, so AU looking for that, see what it wants to do. Valid to sell from here, so more or less looking to be able to sell when it gets up there. EU, I want buys as well. So EU, if we have a look. Now, I don't think this point's going to hold long term, to be honest. The momentum into it's pretty hectic. But we have, obviously retested that break. We are at the bottom of a leg. We can still push up higher. We have generated a little bit of liquidity, but not heaps. But this pullback into here is quite strong. Um, so yeah, it doesn't scream buyers in control. Now, what we do have on EU again, break, nothing inside of here really induced anything other than what we've just induced now. So it's an actual range break. So that's, that was our internal leg. Everything else like this had a little bit of inducement, but that didn't really induce. Obviously, that didn't. That induced retest, but that range was shit. Um, so yeah, pretty average. Obviously, looks like we're going to get a second break to the downside here now, which actually works better because if we can get two breaks out of this point, then we can work inside of here. We've got much more room before our break-even area. So we'll see if that wants to give an opportunity. I'd like to sell it. I just believe that we need to come up higher before selling. So don't really know where you'd sell it from. This is the last point that induced. So yeah, we'll see. Got to monitor what these do from here. We don't have any news today, so that's cool. Obviously had CPI last night, but yeah, just going to monitor what these do inside these legs here now and go from there. So obviously, guys, let us know if you got any questions. I'll speak to you soon.